Hi guys, Karis here, and I'm hanging out in one of my favorite places to come in Sedona. It's a cave system, and I'll show you guys the view of it in this video. So, what I want to talk to you about today is releasing the need for judgment. And in my mind, judgment and discernment are not the same thing. That doesn't mean if you release the need for judgment and if you stop judging, it doesn't mean that then you have to just let situations take advantage of you or get walked all over or not care for yourself. And the way that I understand it, it actually means the opposite. So a lot of people who consider themselves to be light workers or energy healers or even just consciously evolving people, which I believe that a lot of you guys who watch my videos are, we've been taught to put things in boxes, and some of that's just the human condition at this point on this planet, but I think that it's even more for people who are trying to do good and be healers, because what ends up happening is you have then a population, and I'm not talking about any specific person here, I'm talking about the culture of the whole consciously ascending, evolving, and it even goes through other areas and other schools of thought like religion or certain types of maybe academic sectors and things like that, where people are taught to put things in boxes, and a certain set of characteristics means that whoever or whatever you're talking about is not worthy of something. I've seen people who are the most amazing, wonderful, beautiful souls get downright violent with their words and just mean when faced with something that they equate as bad or that they have defined or judged as bad, usually because they've been taught to do that. And I think that the reason that a lot of this happens is because we all have light and shadow within us. We all have matter and antimatter. Light coming in and a place for it to come in. So shadow, darkness. And what we're here to do, I believe, is bring divine consciousness into all of it. I don't think we're here to eradicate the shadow. Why would you want to eradicate the shadow? You'd have no colors then. You'd have no beautiful background then. You would just have complete white out. And we know how to do that. We all do that after we go back to source every time we have an incarnation. I don't think that's the reason for what we're doing down here. And so a lot of people who want to be healers or who are energy workers or things like this, they never want to say anything bad or critical or in any way be negative, right? So then when they do feel that negative force come up within them, because creation and destruction are aspects of this existence, destruction is not bad or wrong, it's just part of it. And the key is to do it when it should be done, because creation out of balance, well, that's cancer, isn't it? So you have to have both of them in balance. So when people who consider themselves healers or energy workers or whatever, they find this shadow coming up in them, they get triggered, or they see something that makes them not happy, then in order for them to vent their frustration, they have to label the thing they're looking at, the thing that triggered them, as bad, as evil. And then once something is labeled as evil, then all manner of evils are excused, because if it's a bad guy, then you can do whatever you want to it, whether it be person, place, or thing, and you don't have to feel responsible in any way. So not long ago, I was thinking about this because, of course, if you can perceive something, that means it exists within yourself. So as soon as you can perceive someone else doing something you don't like, that means it's time to look within and see where you're doing it. And I realized that one of the big reasons for judgment is because it makes people feel safe. If people can identify what they see as the danger and they can move away from the danger, then that can make them feel safe. But it's not necessarily accurate. We can only see a tiny amount of the light spectrum and hear a tiny amount of the vibrational audible spectrum. And so that's just one aspect, but there are also lots of things going on around you at any given moment that you don't notice. Just because you've labeled something as bad and you're hiding from it doesn't mean that you're actually safe. And it does mean that you might miss out a bunch of really beautiful, amazing, fun, healing, delicious experiences because you're keeping yourself back from a whole aspect of existence that you've labeled as something that you don't want to participate in. Now, there is such a thing as discernment, and if something doesn't feel good, that doesn't mean you have to go do it. That's not what I'm saying here. What I am saying is that if you were to drop all judgments and all labels of groups of people and of people and realize that given the history, the situation, the experiences, all of us may do the most atrocious things. And also, if you're someone who believes in reincarnation, which I am because the experiences that I've had, then you know that all of us have done the most beautiful things, and all of us have done the most horrible things before. Maybe not in this incarnation, maybe in another one, but judging another person as good or bad because of their actions is something that is, I think, kind of hypocritical, because the point of being here is to get all the experiences. So if you can release judgment and move forward without it, then what does that mean? Well, I think that it means a lot more forgiveness can come, because you can realize that anybody can do anything given the right amounts of fear and, well, anger and anything else that makes you do things that are harmful. And also it releases you from a fearful, limited existence, because like I said earlier, just because you're not judging something, that doesn't mean that you have to do everything. You can still say, you know what, whatever this experience is, maybe it's an experience that doesn't feel good to me. Maybe it's a place I don't want to go. Maybe it's a person that I don't like the way I feel when I'm around them. That's okay. You don't have to go do that. But you also don't have to say that is bad. Because remember, this is all a holographic projection of what's going on inside of us. And so if we're labeling things in our outer reality as bad, this is bad, that is bad, I don't want to acknowledge this as existence, right? Then really you're doing that to yourself. And so you're kind of cutting off pieces of your own chi flow. So you're ending up making a much more hospitable environment for viruses, sickness, illness, bacteria to grow, things to stop moving the way that they should. And I do believe that the point of this existence is no longer to set the lines of who gets in and who doesn't, right? I think that now it's time to be free from that, go forward knowing that every single person in creation, every single being that is here or anywhere has purpose, has reason, has importance, and then see where everything can be used rather than whether or not it's usable. Of course, everything's usable as long as it's in balance. But how can something be in balance if you're labeling it as bad and pushing it out? So I think that it's a very emancipating statement to say, I have no interest in judging you. And if you judge me, then that's fine. Because also, if you're someone who puts your self-value in what other people think of you, that's still you judging them. And then it's you judging yourself versus, well, based on whatever their lens of you is. But if someone has a judgment of you, if someone has an opinion of you, that just means that's their opinion. It's not necessarily true. And there's no reason that you should define yourself based on someone else's opinion of you, because they're probably not perceiving you anyway. They're probably just perceiving whatever you remind them of in their projected reality. So if it's a good judgment, that's fine, whatever, you don't have to take it in, because then maybe you'll be afraid of losing it. And if it's a bad judgment, you certainly don't have to take it in, because what's the point of that? Of course, the idea is to always keep improving and moving forward, and doing so in a way that increases the harmonic and brings much more beautiful and delicious experiences into our awareness. But that doesn't mean that you have to chop things out of your reality in order to do that. You can move back and choose to have a different experience without labeling or judging or in any way putting yourself above anything, and even keep your discernment doing that. So that said, let me show you guys the view where I am here. So I'm hanging out in this cave, and check out my view. Nice, huh? Yeah, and then here's the edge of the cave, and there is another system of caves over there. That kind of serves as a window that you can look at if you're over there. And then of course you can kind of climb up that area. So I urge you, as always, to find the beautiful spots where you are and enjoy them, because that keeps us balanced too, especially going into winter. On that note, I hope you're all doing beautifully well. Much love, go in peace, and I will see you guys up there on the astrals.